back to the Cutty and Govy show. Govy, what do you think about this weather in Boca Raton? Chamber of Commerce weather. Everybody up north is sliding all over the roads. There's snow, there's sleet, there's black ice in Boca Raton, Delray Beach, Palm Beach. Gorgeous 76 today, Govy.
I know it's been nice. It's been nice for a while.
And we have the Eagles in the Super Bowl. We're Philly boys, originally Philly boys. Eagles in the Super Bowl this weekend. Kansas City versus the Eagles. We don't have to tell you who we think's going to win. In fact, you know, the tickets are plummeting, I hear, because there's Kansas City fatigue. But the Eagles are the underdogs by 1 point, I think. Is it 1.5 or 1?
It's going back and forth between 1 and 1.5. I can see where fatigue comes in. I really do.
Well, you know, it's a three. You know, there 3 times there already.
Well, have you ever been to like a Super Bowl at all? Or,
yeah.
I mean, the expense, the going.
Right.
I mean, it's a major, major thing. You're staying up late at night. I mean, then if you went to a back-to-back Super, I mean, at a certain point where, okay, you got the experience, then it's pretty nice to see it at home.
So what do you think? These prop bets are great with, you know, if Nick Foles, not Nick Foles, geez, folks, Nick Foles. I mean, Jalen Hurts is going to score a touchdown. How many yards Barkley's going to get?
You know, it's interesting because with the Eagles, they have that tush-push. So, you know, it's hard to, like, sometimes say a running back like Barkley, if it was like second and goal from the 1 yard line, you would think he would get the ball. But now with the Eagles, it's Jalen Hurts. So I think he's the guy. I mean, last Super Bowl they played Kansas City, it was under 1 touchdown, a rushing touchdown for him. I think he had like 2 in the first quarter.
Well, the question is, if you saw the Buffalo game, it was horrible, the 2 calls. And the question is, do the refs throw it in the Kansas City way and let Kansas City win the game? They even have a bet where they show Taylor Swift during the national anthem. Did you see that bet?
Yeah. You know,
and if what's his name's going to propose to her at the end of the game if he wins?
Yeah, but you know these guys
bullshit.
At the Super Bowl, you know they take these questions from these reporters or podcasters, so they don't know who they really are during media day, and you could ask any question you want. So it's not screened. And, you know, Travis Kelce's up there, and this one guy, he calls on and he says, so tell me, are you more in love with Taylor Swift than the NFL referees are with the Kansas City Chiefs?
That is funny.
And he, like, you know, he has to, like, respond quickly. And he, like, he said, good question. Next.
That's pretty funny. Well, what's your prediction, Govy? You've been hot all year. You've won lots of money. You're buying a $40 million house on the ocean now. Not from your NVIDIA stock, but not from your gambling.
Yeah.
But you've made millions this year in the gambling. Who do you predict? Who are you putting money on? If it's 1.5, first of all, whose hometown? I think the Eagles will have more people in the stands.
They are. I think they're outselling them now that they, you know, from StubHub and all that information, they are. I like the Eagles. I really do. I think
they got to win.
Their offensive line is the key. I mean, they average, I think, 6'6", 390 pounds. I mean, that's unheard of in the NFL. I mean, and then Barkley, he isn't even getting touched until he's 3 yards down. It's unheard of.
Well, I want to see the Eagles win so Nick Sirianni can go like this to the world. I mean, remember in that 4th game they were calling for his head in Philly?
I mean, he's in 2 Super Bowls out of the last 3 years. I mean, that's typical Philadelphia. We get a guy, we run him out. Matter of fact, we ran out Andy Reid, who is now the winningest coach in Kansas City history and Philadelphia.
It's crazy. But, I mean, you just don't know if that was the general manager that was controlling Andy Reid. Andy Reid has more control of the team in Kansas City.
You know, it's funny. NFL teams have much more control than any other sport. You know, sometimes they can believe a player and say, you know what, I'll overpay for a guy. And if they make a mistake, you can cut them. You know, like the Eagles got this guy Huff they paid a lot of money to. They're going to get rid of him. In basketball, you really don't have that. It's like if you make a mistake in basketball, you have to go up to your fan base and say, I'm sorry, but we're going to be lousy for the next 9 years because of this one mistake.
Well, it's a lot less players too. I mean, in football they're used to getting hurt. They're used to replacing players in and out.
But I'll give you this last trade in the NBA, this
Yeah,
Doncic. Everybody
Dallas.
thought, what did Dallas do? Well, like,
Right.
how could they do that? The guy's 25 years old. He's a
I
superstar.
like it.
And, because he gets a super max deal, which means
Mhm.
if he was eligible, as long as he signed with Dallas, it was $350 million. The head is the, whatchamacallit from the Sands.
Marion
Marion-
Edelson.
So
Marion
she
Edelson.
owns the team, and she runs the team like she does her casino business.
Right.
She has a general manager, and said to the general manager, as a business decision, is this guy worth $350 million? Because if he decides to check out and just take the money, does he have that inner drive? I'm sure these teams have their investigators, and they think that he was not going to be worthy of the $350 million. Just like
I think it's a great trade.
just like an argument, the 76ers got
Yeah.
that Paul George. They gave him a max deal, $240 million. This guy's played what, 17 games
Well,
this
Joel
year?
Embiid sucks for 70 million. I don't think has he played 20 games yet?
No.
How many games has he played?
No, but look at the Sixers can go from
Crazy.
the Sixers could be from being in the, maybe they're talking about the best three teams in the East, to now they might be getting a lottery pick. I mean, that's so.
It's screwed up. Well, Josh Harris is, we're Philly guys. No offense, Josh, but you're spending too much time on the Washington Commanders.
I agree.
Go back to Philly. Just because you sit at every game doesn't mean you're running the team.
I mean, but I got to tell you, Jeffrey Lurie, there was an article in today's Philadelphia paper. They think he is the best Philadelphia Eagle of all time. That's how important he was. It's now 30 years.
He's a great owner.
He's a great owner.
He's a great owner, always been a great owner. How many times has he been in playoffs, Super Bowls?
Championships, unbelievable.
Every one of his coaches. Dick Vermeil was a good coach.
Yeah.
Then Peterson was a good coach. Obviously, Nick Sirianni's a great coach.
Yeah, I mean, he's Andy Reid.
Chip Kelly was a shitty coach.
Yeah, but he got him to a playoff one year.
Who? Andy Reid?
Yeah.
He was a shitty
Hey,
coach. I couldn't stand Andy
But the
Reid.
time was ready to get rid of him, and he did.
I couldn't stand the guy.
Everybody in Philadelphia would always say after each game, and if the Eagles lost, and they're waiting for this, all the reporters are there to ask him one question, he would always say, I have to do a better job putting people in place to make plays. It's my fault. And that's
Well, he literally lived 1 mile from me. And the fact that his family was so dysfunctional with his kids, 3 of them in jail or 2 of them in jail, 1 killed himself. I mean, come on, really?
How can you take care of an NFL team?
Well, how do you devote 100 hours a week to an NFL team and your family is totally disintegrating,
Right.
I mean, it was shameful.
It happened even in Kansas City. Don't forget, his son was working with him on the
got in
sidelines.
a car
Got
accident.
into a car accident, paralyzed a 5-year-old girl.
Yeah, he was drunk.
He's in jail now still. He's
Yeah.
still in jail.
Should be in jail.
So, I didn't really want to talk politics with you. But with this guy in office, if we just talk about what he did in the last 12 hours.
Go ahead. You got the mic, Gabby.
All right,
You say what. I'm going to say, I'll start it real fast, then you can rant.
Okay.
Trump's a gangster. He wants a piece of everything. He's like a mob boss. He wants a piece of everything. What he does is he throws tariffs down, and then already the other side, he's already winning because the other side's willing to give up something, a little more than they had this much. And as soon as he throws the tariff down, I mean, this thing, he's going to own Gaza. He don't want to own Gaza, but that's what he's throwing out there. And he's willing to settle for a lot less. But these people aren't going to get what they thought they had. Go ahead, Gavi. You tell us what you think. He's a gangster in my book.
I want to know, first of all, these other world leaders, like the world leaders from, say, the big 7, you'll take your Germany, France, Britain, take your big 7. Do you think they're ever on the phone at night calling each other and saying, The guy wanted Panama. Then he wanted Greenland. He wants Canada to be the 51st state. He wants Gaza. He leveled Gaza. I mean, this guy is, and that's what he did before lunch. And then he's going to redo the
Close the Department of Education. Doge is cutting everybody's slush funds.
Yeah, it's
AOC says Elon Musk is an idiot. The guy has $500 billion. He invented SpaceX. He's got.
Oh, by the way, he took out 5 hostages from Venezuela that our country didn't even know about. That they came out sending prisoners to Guantanamo Bay. These other world leaders have to say, "Are we next?" And Ukraine, they all of a sudden they don't need to ask for money anymore. How come?
Yeah, for every week they were asking for money. Now all of a sudden they don't need money because Joe's not in there taking his piece. Joe, out of every 100 million, was taking 20 million.
Yeah, except you know what? That's the difference of the thinking. Joe's trying to take $20 million.
20 billion.
20 billion. Trump's asking for rare minerals.
Yeah, that's great. Trump goes, look, we're sending you 200 billion. I want some minerals. Give us some of your rare minerals. Trump is gangster. He wants a piece of everybody's action.
By the way,
he wants a piece.
Right. Zelensky never thought of that. He never thought that a guy would ask for rare minerals, and he didn't, which by the way is great for the U.S. That's how you get your money back.
Well, yeah, because if Zelensky's smart, he should say to himself, laying in bed, hey, I have some leverage now. I can sell some of these rare minerals and not beg for money. I can sell it and get money.
Right. After he pays us back.
But Zelensky's got to know with Trump, the gangster, MAGA gangster guy, that he's going to have to give up some ground. And Putin has to know that Trump's going to be driving oil prices down to $50 a barrel, and he's going to be broke. And Iran's got to know they're going to be broke.
And by the way, with all that, he's also saying to Putin, I'm about to do a little renovation in the Gaza, and I want you to not really be involved if any other countries ask it. Just let me handle this. So, he's getting the world leaders all together.
Yeah, so, Govy and I were talking about it. He's got his Eagles shirt on. I call it a no-huddle offense. This is Donald Trump. It's
a hurry-up offense.
Hurry-up offense. Why don't you explain to our audience what a hurry-up offense is?
Yeah, but you get 40 seconds until the next play. But if you just line up at the line of scrimmage, the other team's just exhausted because they don't get their breath back and they can't substitute. So right now, Democrats, they can't cover everything he's doing. He's going in warp speed. He has the immigration. By the way, he shut that down. By the way, do you know he's only been in office for 18 days?
The border's completely closed.
It's
10,000 troops on the Mexican side of the border. Canada has troops now. Trump has upset. So this is what I
Colombia,
believe.
he handled Colombia in between his golf round.
Yeah. This is my belief. I believe that Trump desperately wants interest rates to come down. Housing is at a 29-year low in terms of housing. Imagine if you need a larger house, but you have a 3% mortgage. Now, if you're going to buy a larger house, you're going to have to get an 8% mortgage, unlike Govy, who just writes a check here, but these other people are going from it. So nobody's putting their old house for sale. Trump wants to drive mortgage rates down. Trump wants to drive interest rates down. And Jerome Powell doesn't want to play ball, chairman of the board of the Federal Reserve. So Trump got in a pissing match with him, and he can't fire the guy. He has an 8-year term or 6-year term. So Trump figures, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tariff the world, wreck the economy, Jerome, unless you lower interest rates. And Jerome says, you won't do that. Trump tariffs the world and decides to wreck the economy. The stock market, it went down 1,000 points the day he did all that?
Yeah.
And he telegraphed it. He did tell everybody he was going to do it.
And he can bring it back. And it's on the string right now for him.
Right. So, Jerome, you got the memo, pal. Next meeting in March, you're lowering rates or Trump's wrecking the world.
I'll tell you how much is going on right now.
Because I don't mean to interrupt you, but Trump plays the chess game three steps ahead, and he knows he can wreck the world on Friday and fix it on Monday. These other guys don't know what he's thinking.
Because they haven't seen anything like it. I mean, just think about this. There's so much going on in the world that Governor Newsom flew from California, kissed his ring yesterday in the Oval Office, and went back and basically groveled for help in California and had to say what a great meeting it was. I mean, that must have killed him to have to tell everybody how terrific Trump was.
What I like about Trump is he's a very modest man. He has Benjamin Netanyahu in the Oval Office with the fire behind him that's like 3 feet high. And he says, who do you think was the best president for Israel ever, Netanyahu? He says this thing. What's Netanyahu going to say? Maybe, let's think.
That's putting him on
he
the
says,
spot.
who's the best president ever for Israel in your lifetime?
I mean, the two of them together when they're alone. I mean, what do you think it was like when Bibi handed him a gold beeper? I mean, that's two world leaders uniting on the same subject. They both use common sense and say, this is what we need, that has to happen. And, everybody else was like, Biden thing. Could you imagine him giving a gold beeper to Joe Biden?
No. I want to know who has the better hair wrap, Benjamin Netanyahu or Donald Trump? They both swing it around.
Yeah.
They both like whip it around.
But I mean, those guys, they have something. You could see that they were on the same page.
But let me ask you this question: what do you think of Donald Trump's executive order, no men in women's sports?
I think it was great. I mean, it never should have had to come to that. I mean, it's common sense. Again, I think transgenders, no one really cared. They live any way you want. No one really cares.
So you're okay with transgender?
No, I'm okay. Any way they want to live their life, anybody can live their life any way.
You're a right Republican for you to say that.
No, anybody can.
You're moving to the middle with me, Govy.
I'm into fairness, where it's like, listen, you don't need to then play a sport. You don't see women. Why don't you see women basketball players in the NBA? Why don't you see women?
How about that box? Remember the boxing in the Olympics?
It's fairness. So you know what? Don't make it a big deal. That shouldn't be where I think they gave back. I think they lost ground. I think this country now is like going against them. They're trying to take back some of the, forward thinking that they were making progress.
So Trump's done a lot of stuff. I'm in a disagreement with Govy on a lot of it, but I like this no men and women's sports. That's really pretty good because it's not fair.
What do you think of now that Trump got his FCC guy into office? He's now surrounding himself with his people. So when he said, he asked for the CBS tapes when it was 60 Minutes did an interview with Kamala Harris, and the Biden administration would not release these tapes. And you can't doctor a tape because they gave Vance's unedited. And all of a sudden, they had to release them last night. What do you think of the way they doctored the tapes?
Well, I don't understand. Look, I've been involved in a lot of court cases in my life. And, you have to prove damages. What are Donald Trump's damages?
The damages.
He won the election. He has no damages. In order for CBS, so this is the case if you don't know about it, folks. CBS, in an interview with Kamala Harris, went ahead and doctored the interview and cut and edited portions out to make her in the best light when she couldn't answer, when she words out some of the questions.
Well, they gave the big question at the very end that they didn't even put on the air was, why do you want to be president of the United States? Now, this is 6 weeks before you're a president. This is when you just got on a plane and you went across the country. And she says, because I love everybody. And I want them to love me.
Not a good answer.
I mean, the answer was a softball. It's like she's giving this.
That's like Ted Kennedy couldn't answer that question either.
And that was the big question that they didn't put on the air that everybody would have said, that's crazy. So what are the damages? The-
Yeah, in order, so Trump sued for 60 billion or
Yeah,
10 billion
60
or
billion.
some stupid number. But you have to prove damages. What are his damages?
I'm gonna
He
tell you
wasn't
his-
damaged.
I'm going to tell you his damages.
Go ahead.
CBS is for sale by Redstone.
Okay.
Okay. The person buying CBS is Skydance, which is Larry Ellison's son,
Right.
is buying it. The transaction is being held up right now because of the court, because of the FCC rather, because they're looking into should CBS be fined for, as a news organization, they were supposed to tell,
So that's an FCC issue, not a
that-
Donald Trump.
but that hurts the value of CBS on the buy. So Donald Trump could say, I'll release my.
Oh, it's extortion. It's another gangster movie. It's another gang. I want a piece of this.
Is that the word?
Yeah. He's extorting. So you're basically saying Donald Trump is getting paid because he's holding up a merger.
That they can hold up for 4 years, they already.
Right, because he thinks he was done wrong.
And, well, if not, forget anything. If it just goes to trial, they have to expose 60 minutes. There's depositions. CBS could really, if they have any skeletons in the closet, they got to settle.
Wow, can you imagine him getting $1 billion?
But
What the 800 million Rupert Murdoch paid?
Because of the Tucker Carlson type of stuff. I think Donald Trump said, I want $1 more. $1 more CBS has to pay than Rupert Murdoch, to me.
Wow. So if Donald Trump, through the 94 indictments and that whole court case, if he maybe spent 200 or 300 million on lawyers, maybe that much, maybe
Okay.
if he got 800 million on this, that pays for his library plus all his lawyers. I mean, it's a win.
Plus all the tech people giving money to his library too when he called them all down.
Right. And then Elon Musk will throw him probably $1 billion.
And there's Bitcoins that he created.
Right. So, Govy, what do you think of the Fetterman pills out there?
Well, I think if you watch Fox TV at night, they have that, what is it, Balance of Nature?
Yeah, Balance of Nature.
It gives you all your vegetables and all your fruit, and you feel really good. You don't know if it really works or not because they're all like these actors up there. But when Fetterman said, I got these pills, and look what it did for me, not Balance of Nature, the Fetterman pills. He actually is selling his own pills. What do you think?
I'm going to take some.
Do you see any improvement in
I
it?
think it'll help our reels, help our show.
It's not only that, he's the smartest Democrat out there. He didn't just, do you know he's the only one that voted for Pam Bondi?
I mean, I don't even understand that. Why, if Pam Bondi's going to get in just strictly because of the Republican votes, why are you going to vote for her? And that way you don't look like a bad guy in Donald Trump's eyes. I would not want to be going against this guy.
How about Kash Patel? FBI head, they're holding him up until, I think, Thursday, until next week, until next Tuesday or Wednesday, because they're allowed X amount of time. Now, they know he already has the votes. They just want to delay him. I'm looking so now you're just pissing off the head of the FBI. Right now, there's a Super Bowl going on, and we don't have a head of the FBI right there with what's going on in the world. How is that helping the country? If you know he's getting in 4 days, why not have a captain steering the ship?
It's absolutely crazy. Like Pam Bondi, I was watching them say at the Department of Justice goodbye to Merrick Garland. And those people were crying and they were cheering and they were carrying on. Democratic Party, it's okay, my side. But what does Pam Bondi do with all those people that were crying and cheering and applauding this guy? Obviously, they love Merrick Garland. I mean, she can't have any of them working for her. She has to clean house.
She could walk down the same aisle and say to them, you're still here? By 12 o'clock, I don't expect to see you anymore. They're going to clean house on a lot of them.
Now, that's what they're doing. 6%.
CIA, they're cleaning out the CIA.
Yeah, 6% of the federal workforce works in an office. The rest work from home.
Right. But they're paying for the leases of all these.
It's crazy. My entire career, I was in the construction business. Obviously, you can't work from home. Building houses, you have to work on the field. Everybody that worked for me, we paid 5,000 people weekly. They all worked every day.
Right.
6% of the federal workforce works from home, works in an office. It's insane.
Right, and when it's being exposed, here's like some of the two bonehead like comments I heard this weekend that are the classics. You have AOC calling Elon Musk a dummy and an idiot. He's the dumbest billionaire she knows. You got to sit there and you have to say to yourself, the United States and Joe Biden's staff, they put the astronauts on the space station with Boeing. Boeing can't get them down. Why can't Elon Musk say to AOC, if you're so smart, you get them down? Like, why don't you get them down from space? Because they need him. They need him to get them down to space. I mean, have you ever heard of anybody go up for a 1-week tour? It's like Gilligan's Island. They have actually been up there now. They're still up there.
A year? How long is it? It's got to be.
I think it's getting close.
So I wonder if you can walk after that from being in weightlessness for so long. Does all the muscle in your body deteriorate?
Yeah, if they're sick, I mean, there's a lot you're not even hearing about it right now. So maybe
it's the corrupt media. They're covering it up.
Yeah, which is, by the way, in this Doge thing, they found how they were giving to Politico, to all these magazines.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're seeing all that. But then the other great comment is another one, is Hillary Clinton. She goes up to Secretary of Transportation Duffy. He's been in office sworn in literally for like 4 hours, and there's the chopper crash and plane crash in the Potomac. And then 24 hours later, there's the plane crash in Philadelphia. And she like tags him on like blaming his administration for these plane crashes. And he turned around and said, Hillary, you need to sit this one out. Like someone needed to like put her in place. Like, this is unbelievable.
I mean, how about this Donald Trump's press secretary or whatever she is, the 28-year-old girl?
She's a bulldog.
But, I mean, she has everything memorized. She has a photographic memory like you. Everything is memorized. It's unbelievable, her answers.
Well, she's nervous. She's about to be peppered, so she wants to do her homework. Right. I truly believe when she's sitting in the room with the president and he's going 1,000,000 miles an hour, she might be taping, because you have to keep up with him. What do you think the binder was like when Joe Biden was there? Do you think he was sleeping in the corner and she was reading a book?
Well, she obviously, what's her name? Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is. She obviously was dealing with somebody else. I believe that this woman that is now the press secretary sits with Donald Trump all day long in the Oval Office. She probably has a corner chair over there and hears everything that's going on so she can react. I don't believe Jean-Pierre did that with Joe Biden because Joe Biden probably was not that active.
You think he was that's upstairs taking a nap?
Yeah, or doing something.
So then that brings you to...
reading.
So then that brings you to, right now, the Democratic Party, they don't want Elon Musk because he was a non-elected person that's coming up with all this saving of the money and everything. But we were okay with Joe Biden running the country, and we had no idea. Do you think there's any Republican thought who was running the country? Did they all ask that question? Every Republican said, who's running this country?
Right, an unelected official.
Right, and the Democrats were like, some of them, half of them said, Joe Biden is, of course.
But is Elon Musk there just to disrupt, or is he there to disrupt and rebuild like he did
He's there to get rid of all the
slush
fund.
If he closes the Department of Education, that's his job. He's not supposed to be there for the rebuilding of whatever it is in the states.
They have the Secretary of Education. They want to hand it back to the states.
Right.
And, they think that would do. I mean, we're pouring in. It's like, again, they're pouring in billions and billions and billions of dollars. And yet you now have, besides the kids not learning, going through COVID, you see it's going in the wrong direction. Now you're about to throw in all the illegal immigrants that are going to go into the school that don't even speak English.
Right.
That means the results are going to be a little tainted because that's going to bring the numbers down even lower. And you got to do something. You got to be able to take your kid and say, this school is not the right school. My kid is like a faster learner. I got to be able to move him.
Well, look, if they drive interest rates down to half of what it was, that saves, we spend $1 trillion a year on interest on our debt. If they cut it in half where it
Right.
was, they automatically save 500 billion on interest. I
Right.
mean, that's like a big savings for Elon Musk. But you touched on something earlier about this helicopter crash. I mean, Donald Trump in the first hour.
Right. And he got, by the way, he took criticism because he shot from the hip. But he had information. He didn't just shoot from the hip.
And you said that on the last show. He had information.
Yeah. But he said it. Usually they don't say it.
But this woman that was flying this helicopter had 500 hours total time in a helicopter.
Do you know who this woman was, though?
No.
So do you remember when Joe Biden was handing out the Medal of Honor to Hillary Clinton, to just the recent one, to George Soros's son, just like a month, right? Like 4 days before he left office. The person in the military putting the medals around her neck was her. She basically was in the White House a lot. So
why do you think she was in this helicopter?
That's interesting.
I think it's a
she
huge
wasn't really like, she had this cushy type of position, sort of. She was around Biden all the time.
This is what I believe, folks. Huge conspiracy. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I believe some foreign nation took over the controls of that helicopter remotely, like Iran or Russia. Yeah. And there was somebody they wanted to kill in either that plane or in the helicopter, which you won't know who it was. And they took over controls of this helicopter and smashed it into the plane to kill that one person.
No,
to kill that one person. That's what I think happened. We'll never figure it out.
I think it's inexperience. The pilot, the pilot, she made a mistake. She went 150 feet higher than she should have.
I flew for 7 years. I flew 400 hours a year. That's 2,800 hours. She had 500 hours, and she's flying a helicopter at Reagan International, where planes are landing every 2 minutes, and she's in the runway.
By the way, the FAA, the control tower, was doing 2 jobs that night. They were supposed to have 33 people in that tower. There were 19, and then one asked to go home early. So they let a guy go home.
I think that's all part of the scam.
And they said this guy was doing 2 jobs. No way.
I'm telling you, you're going to find out maybe like it's a JFK assassination. Something happened. There was that helicopter was a military transport helicopter. Somebody was in that helicopter, a 4th person who you may or may not ever find out, and they wanted that person dead.
That's a crazy...
You heard it here, folks.
Well, by the way, there is a new TV show going out there. I don't think most people maybe will get it, but Laura Trump, I know a favorite of you, all the Trump's kids, and they love recognition. Maybe one of her guests might be Ivanka Trump. That would be a great night for you.
I don't think those two get along.
I don't know, but she has her own TV show, by the way, this Saturday night, 9 o'clock on Fox, cable Fox News station.
Oh, she has her own show on Fox now?
Yes, Saturday night. So now,
Saturday night.
Who did they kick out? Do you know who was Saturday night?
Yeah, it was that show that it's called The Weekend or something.
Okay, that was,
where they had the 4 people there.
Okay, that was at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I think it was 7 and at 9, or Mark Levin might have been at 9 on a Saturday night.
Somebody got kicked out, and you know how The View are always these women that are like...
Yeah.
And it was really supposed to be, The View is everybody's viewpoint. But obviously, it just became a liberal Trump bashing type of thing. Well, her TV show is called My View with Laura Trump.
Wow.
So you're going to see her attacking all the other people.
Let's get her to have Cutty and Govy on the show.
Would that be great?
No, Cutty and Govy will be very funny. We'll be humorous.
Yeah.
Come on with a tan like that.
And you have Don Jr. He's now going to be in the paper.
Is he going to come in with his hunting rifle?
No, but he's now on the board of some major companies.
And Barron Trump is buying real estate in Utah or something?
He got 2 friends, I guess, from high school.
God.
They're starting a company. Their business address, home address is Mar-a-Lago, and they're building... They want to develop golf courses and resorts.
This is crazy,
Utah,
folks.
Montana, and maybe Arizona.
Unbelievable. So, Gavi, we're rolling back to the Super Bowl.
It's a little nerve wracking, for
The under over I saw was 47. Is it still 47?
I like under.
I like under too. I was going to say I'll bet you.
No, you know what? The Eagles' game plan is to take Mahomes off the field. In order to take him off the field is control the clock, get your first downs, keep him. If you could chew off, 6-minute drives, 4 or 5, 8-minute drives, that's you could control some of the damage.
And who's the halftime? It's Lamar Kendrick.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. Wow.
That should be.
He's supposed to be great.
By the way, what do you think of Kanye West taking his wife?
What a whack job.
I mean, is this guy like
what a wacko?
Now, let me ask you a question.
Starved for attention.
So let me ask you a question. Kim Kardashian is now giving out advice to women on certain red alerts to not to be with a person. Like you got to just know it's a red flag. Now, would you really listen to her since she actually had how many kids with
4?
She has 4 kids with this guy.
If I was her, I would run right to the court and have him psychologically evaluated. He's messed up.
But would you sit there? Would you want your kids to be in their presence?
Unbelievable. No. I mean, there's something wrong with him. But the only smart thing he ever did was stay away from P. Diddy. I mean, he stayed away from P. Diddy. I don't understand the balance there. The guy appears to be such a whack job that, how would he have the balance to stay away from P. Diddy in those parties? It's kind of crazy, right? Do you see him outside in those silver mirrored up Mercedes he had?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is crazy.
And by the way, her mom is like a normal person in Australia. I mean, it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but look, there's strippers. There's all these people that get naked on OnlyFans and porn sites.
But this person is he has kids. Like in Los Angeles, how do you walk down the street and you say, this is your stepmom? Yeah,
it is kind of crazy. Well, Gavi, another show goes flying by.
Well, we hope the Eagles win.
Right. I love watching the locker room afterwards. I mean, remember back in the day, the Chicago Bears, they had the Bears song with McMahon. What was the quarterback?
The Eagles have a song.
Yeah, I see that. But who was the guy, McMahon or whatever?
Yeah, Jim McMahon.
Jim McMahon.
Crazy guy.
So who's that little guy in the locker room now?
Gilly.
Yeah. He's great. He jingles around.
He has his dance going. He's in the locker room.
Yeah.
By the way, he took his neighbor first class. He's taking him to the game because the Eagles are taking them. I mean, we have this song was 20 years old.
Yeah. Well, last game, the MVP was Tom Brady. I thought he did a great job.
Blow the Whistle is the name of the song.
Right. Blew the whistle. But Tom Brady came back. He was horrible at the beginning. He was great last week. I hope he calls a good game. I'm glad they gave it to him.
Yeah, me too.
And Tom, good luck. I'm sure you're as nervous as the Eagles are.
It's also Jimmy Johnson's last day broadcasting.
What's going to happen? Anything special?
He's retiring.
They bringing him any presents?
No, I would have liked to have given him a present, but I don't think it's happening.
No. All right, folks.
See you next week.
Thanks for coming in. Oh, let's promote Left Foot, Right Foot, Survival Guide for Business and Life.
Yeah, and subscribe to both.
Yeah, we have a podcast, Left Foot, Right. So I started a podcast about success, failure, and lessons learned. The only reason I did that because Govy gets 80% of the profits from this podcast. I only get 20. So I had to start another podcast to survive.
I'm still trapped on Going in 60 Seconds, that chapter there.
Well, I was going in 60 seconds.
Because every single week, there is a person you can add to that list.
I want you to comment, folks, if you think I tried to renegotiate my contract January 1st, 50-50. Govy said no, it's 80-20. All right, folks, have a great week.
See ya.
'Cause I'm only wondering